So Toy Story 5 is officially happening, and if the first trailer is any indication, Pixar isn't just leaning into nostalgia, they're tackling the biggest threat toys have ever faced: technology. But beyond the jokes, there is some incredibly sophisticated filmmaking happening under the hood. Today we're breaking down the editing, the cinematography, and the hidden details that prove that Toy Story 5 might be the most important chapter yet. So let's dive in. As a lot of trailers begin, this first section is really just about conveying what life is like when you first see these characters in the movies. And what's really cool about the editing here is notice the first time Jessie comes into the scene. So she says, "Yee-haw," and as she says that, the music gets really loud. She swoops on down. There's also this kind of glittery, shimmering sound effect that accompanies her landing down. And so it really creates this heroic arrival for Jessie. And so I think what that conveys here is that Jessie's whole purpose is to make Bonnie's playtime feel fun, feel energetic, feel enthusiastic. Also notice how the animation style changes. It goes into this kind of like watercolor look. My interpretation is that watercolor is an ancient art form. And so I'm wondering if the filmmakers are kind of showing that this kind of fun playtime is a thing of the past. It's an old school way of spending your time. And later on in the trailer, we're gonna realize that the whole point of this movie is that technology takes over kids' playtime. Then we have this fun, complete reversal in the playtime where Rex gets poisoned. To me, this is a direct reference to the Game of Thrones, The Purple Wedding, where Joffrey gets poisoned at the wedding. I think Bonnie here is kind of recreating that moment with her toys. So I think the film here is positioning this playtime as a very fun, very creative, very imaginative process that kids do, which is going to be at risk in this movie. So now when we cut back out of that watercolor animation style, we're back in the quote unquote real world. So the cut from playtime to real life is kind of like a direct representation of her being pulled out of her imagination. And it's no coincidence that this cut is then followed by the introduction of the Lilypad into her life, because the Lilypad, this technology, is going to kill her imagination. Notice that when the Lilypad comes to life, you have the same shimmering sound effect that we heard when Jessie landed into the game.
Hi there, I'm Lilypad.
So using that same sound effect here foreshadows that the Lilypad is going to become the main toy in Bonnie's life.
Extinction! Not again!
Bonnie, screen time's over now.
Okay.
I want to talk to you, device.
So here Jessie's saying that she and her toys have been trying to get Bonnie to connect and hang out with her friends. And then we have this cutaway shot here of Bonnie with the toys going up to supposedly her neighbors or friends. And this cutaway shot is very important because we see that all of her friends already have Lilypads. So this shot is introducing the main conflict of Bonnie's character. And that is that Bonnie has been trying to connect with her friends with her way of fun, which is the toys, but her friends are not interested. Her friends have the Lilypad. So this tells us all of the Bonnie backstory that leads her to wanting the Lilypad. Also, real fun detail, I love that the site that the frog is scrolling through is called Ribbit, right? A play on Reddit. I just think that's a very smart little comedic detail. And the final thing about this section here that I want to talk about is that when Lilypad reveals that it's always listening, that's a very sinister thing that Toy Story is showcasing. It's showcasing that technology is constantly taking our information, but they're conveying it in a very friendly way. The music is very friendly. The sound design of the Lilypad is very fun. These fun little beeps and blops.
I'm always listening.
See? Now look here. Me and the toys have been working.
And so that kind of juxtaposition of dark content but in a light packaging, that's entirely what technology is. So the filmmaking here shows that contradiction in a very smart way.
Yeah, I got dibs on behind the dresser.
We see here through the shots that Woody and Little Bo Peep have been continuing to pursue their mission of rescuing abandoned toys. They're noticing by doing that technology has caused more and more kids to abandon their toys. And the cinematography here is dark. If everything feels hopeless. Then we have like what I think is the most powerful line of the trailer from Woody here.
I don't know, Jessie. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
Now we get this close-up reaction shot of Woody as he looks up. And if you've watched my channel before, you know that I talk a lot about the importance of a close-up. Like close-ups are always used in filmmaking to signify something's important. And here what's important is Woody has discovered his new mission. And his mission is going to be to come back into Bonnie's life and help rescue her from the dangers of technology. And now we get Randy Newman's iconic "You Got a Friend in Me" song. You got a friend in me. Which for me, this is the moment, this is the first moment of the trailer where I was overcome with chills and excitement. We're going to get the gang back together one more time to help this child. And this shot here of Woody coming in and wearing his poncho, both of these shots to me at least feel very heroic, right? They feel like him coming in to save the day.
Why are you wearing a dress, Woody?
It's called a poncho, Forky.
Whoa! Someone needs a brown marker.
This is just a really fun comedy here where Woody has a bald patch. I think that's a great character development and character design choice. And now we're introduced to our second OG character who hasn't really been featured in this trailer yet. And that, of course, is Buzz Lightyear. And what I love is how Woody says Buzz Lightyear's iconic line from the first movie, "I come in peace."
Whoa, whoa, I come in peace.
The fact that Woody says it here is just a really fun, like, banter between the two of them. And it immediately made me happy to see these two back together again.
Some sort of old man toy?
What?
She thinks you're old because you're bald, Woody.
Now we're starting to see the real villainous aspect of the Lilypad, right? If we look at this shot here, the design of her eyes, of the Lilypad's eyes, are very narrow. And in animation, when you have like narrow eyes, that's almost always an indication that the character has like sneaky intentions. So clearly the Lilypad here is designed in a way where it's looking more malicious than it was before. Also notice we have what's called the impact sound effects, which are loud sound effects that are used to punctuate a moment. And here that sound effect is used after every cut. And that just makes the cuts feel more aggressive and feel more intense.
So long, toys.
And this aggressive nature to the editing is mirroring the aggressive nature of the Lilypad. And so the toys are going to need extra help to win this battle.
We're gonna need backup.
And so now we're entering the final section of the trailer. So the job of the trailer here from this point onward is just to show all of the fun, exciting, crazy adventures these toys are going to embark on. And that's very clearly established where you see all of the Buzz Lightyear toys kind of coming together to fight this thing. We have these cool fire pyrotechnics that the toys are deploying. In the midst of this excitement, we have a very great line that I love, this time coming from Buzz.
Our mission on this planet is to make a child happy.
So I really love this line because Buzz says this after you see a couple shots of toys doing crazy things. And so it really just shows how the toys will do anything in their power to make a kid happy. And there's something really emotionally powerful about that to me immediately got me when watching this trailer. And then after Buzz says this line, you see this shot of Jessie being spun around the field. And this is a great shot because it's directly reminiscent of the second movie. And in the second movie, this shot was in a flashback with her previous owner. It was the good times with her previous owner before she got abandoned. This shot is very intentionally mirroring that. And it means that Jessie, once again, is fearing being abandoned. So it's a cycle that's kind of repeating for her. And it gives her extra investment in this problem, and it gives her extra motivation to win this battle. So in this one shot, what the filmmakers are doing, in my opinion, is they're positioning Jessie as being the hero of the movie.
Bonnie still needs us.
Now we see one of the most epic shots I think we've ever seen in Toy Story, which is Jessie leading the troops to save Bonnie, right? And so there's a sunset in the sky, kind of very much calling back to old school westerns where the cowboys would ride off in the sunset, a very heroic kind of shot. If we had any doubt before, this is very much confirming that Jessie is the hero of our story, which makes sense why Jessie was the first of our toys to speak in this trailer. Woody and Buzz didn't really start having a role in this trailer until halfway through. So the trailer framed Jessie as our hero from the very beginning. But of course, Woody and Buzz do get to close out the trailer. And so here we have just a final really fun bit with Woody and Buzz where they jump to the back of this car. This immediately reminded me of the first Toy Story where Woody and Buzz are on the car and they're strapped to the rocket in the street. And what this is telling me is that this movie is also going to be kind of like a return to the old school Toy Story. This is going to be a return to the basics. We're going to get some of our Toy Story 1 nostalgia in this movie. And then we have the final punchline of the movie.
It's good to see them fighting again.
It sure is.
So it's no accident that this scene on the car is reminiscent of the first film, because this line, "It's good to see them fighting again," is hinting at the fact that we're going to get the Woody and Buzz dynamic from the first movie where they were bickering as well. So when we first saw them in this trailer, they were getting along, but now clearly through the adventures they get up to, they're going to be butting heads the way they did in the first film. So I think it's just a perfect way to end this trailer. So this trailer overall has just done a great job of making it very clear what the story is going to be. We know who the villain is. It's a very timely and poignant story. And so if there was any question of why does Toy Story 5 need to happen, I think this trailer answers it, and it does so in a way that has humor, has heart, and has all of the right doses of nostalgia. What did you think of the trailer? Did you like it? Did it bring up all the similar emotions for you? Is there anything that you noticed that I didn't talk about? Please let us all know in the comments. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.